This episode centers around a guy whose name is Matt. Everyone walks all over him. Honestly, I finally got that only when I wrote this piece. This episode also features the same actor that played the bully kid in that episode that we all know is coming up next. Big surprise, he plays a mean-spirited jerk in this one too. Doing things like smearing ketchup in Matt's face right before his school picture and stealing his textbooks to play floor hockey. Insert obligatory Canadian joke here. But Matt is the kind of kid that never really stands out, as indicated by his yearbook photo. Understandably, not being in the photo raises some suspicion, so Matt goes to the photographer's studio to get some answers. He's promptly reminded that he's a nobody and is given a mysterious old camera in lieu of a refund. Remember that the photographer gave the camera to Matt because that comes up later. Then he briefly laments the fact that he's just potentially screwed up a 15-year-old's entire life by giving him a secretly dangerous weapon, like giving a monkey a loaded pistol and not teaching him what the trigger does. In a matter of seconds, Matt accidentally takes a picture of himself. It develops showing a bunch of schmutz on his shirt, which is odd considering that he took a picture of the inside of his nose. But nevertheless, the picture's prophecy of a dirty shirt comes true. After a few test pictures, it's revealed that whatever the camera shoots ends up getting destroyed. Like a window and a fish tank that does this weird boiling thing that surely kills all the fish inside. He then tries it out on the bully, but first he feels the need to give him the worst burn a 9th grader can think of.
Hey, call back! You know you're a total butthead?
At least the worst burn a 9th grader can think of and still get a TV rating of G. It would have been a lot more wicked of a burn if he said something like, "Hey, you f***ing asshole, I f***ed your mom last night. She squealed like a damn greasy pig when I mayonnaise all over a spatula." That's more along the line of how a 15-year-old boy would talk. But regardless, the whole butthead line works, thus awakening the ginger giant. But Matt has a form of defense that I've only seen work one other time, when Jimmy Stewart had a Raymond Burr up his ass. Luckily, the selectively absent basketball coach appears and stops the fight dead in its tracks. Yet the homoerotic tension between them is palpable as the bully angrily checks out Matt's body up and down. After practice, we see the director's use of subliminal suggestion by telling the audience to use drugs. Then a locker inconspicuously falls on the bully's leg and wedges his ankle between it and a bench, almost surely breaking it in the process. Now Matt has a memento to commemorate the occasion. With Operation Take Pictures and Knock Heavy Shit on My Enemies a success, he moves on to other victims. Totally deserving martyrs of justice. And we see just how big of a doormat this kid is when he decides to exact revenge on like 90% of his classmates. Until he inadvertently takes a picture of his sister. One accidental picture later and he's suddenly against it. It was okay for the camera to knock a chandelier or locker onto his enemies, but not his sister. That's going too far and it must be stopped. Or better yet, returned. Matt goes back to the photographer's studio and finds that he's gotten a surge of good luck since getting rid of the camera. It turns out that the photographer has become so rich and successful that he no longer needs clothes that fit properly. Then the guy reveals that it's most likely a little gremlin that's on all the pictures that's responsible for this mess. He then says that the camera chose Matt and therefore couldn't take it back even if he wanted to. As I recall, the camera had no effect on the situation until the guy thought of it spontaneously. See? Unless the camera has some kind of remote mind control, it sure as hell didn't choose anyone. I believe that Matt has just met his very first con man. As soon as he gets home, he accidentally photographs his parents who are on their way out. Despite Matt's constant pleas, the parents still go to the movies, but not before saying one of the most frequently said things in all of the horror genre. A variation of the tried and true "I'll be right back" statement. Only instead of a masked maniac wielding a sharp object, this one involves them colliding head-on with a truck. We get subtle hints of their parents' crumbling marriage as the couple have run out of things to say to each other and resort to fighting over the car radio. The dad fails miserably at masking his dissatisfaction towards the person he honored to love and obey till death do they part, no doubt having the latter half of the song Paradise by the Dashboard Lights running through his head. In the meantime, the sister believes that destroying the camera may break the curse that's been set in motion, only to find it intact minutes later. So plan B is to take a photo of the camera itself and hope that it'll self-destruct. The picture is taken and the parents miss the truck by mere inches, but as it develops they see that the camcorder was in the frame, thus causing the gremlin to jump into that. They both desperately try to avoid being on GTV by hiding behind the furniture and repeatedly turning off the television. I bet you didn't know that if you hold down the power button the whole thing will explode. Now all they have to do is explain to their parents why they blew up the TV and singed the walls. The episode ends with the gremlin infecting Windows 3.1, surely violating the operating system's terms of service. It's yet another episode that ends on a potentially negative note. But to counteract that, I'm going to try and end this video on a high one.
Katie Holmes is a nice, respectable, wholesome girl. And I'm going to see her boobs.
If you get my drift.